So we're here in Parashat Lech Lecha, and I've been doing Parsha meditation for many years, and I have a lot of recordings already on YouTube. So I decided to record something new. This will be the first time, so I may need to read it a little bit. So this is what the new thing I'm doing is spiritual healing from the Parashat. And so in Parashat Lech Lecha, which is the upcoming one, we see that Avraham is being told, Lech Lecha. Hashem spoke to Avraham and says, go for you, or go to yourself from your land, from your birthplace, and from the house of your father to the land that I will show you. So Avraham is our father. So he's paved the way for us to follow in his spiritual footprints, or in his soul prints. And we have to learn from Avraham how to let go. He had to go from three things: from his birthplace, from his country, his birthplace, and the house of our father. So that everybody we all have to do the same thing in our time. What would be the equivalent to letting go of those three things? What does anyone think?
Which three things?
You have to go away, go from your country, from your birthplace, from the house of your father. I'm just trying to copy the invitation because people are asking. Okay.
An example could be Aliyah.
Okay.
I just made Aliyah 4 months ago, so this Lech Lecha hits home right now.
Wow.
It feels like exactly what I'm going through. And I've been really, really missing my parents, and it just was a good reminder. You have to leave your father's house, So
Right.
It was comforting.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so mute yourself now, and I'm going to continue. And so Avram's journey parallels the journey that we are all called upon to follow in our own lives. Just like God told Avram, go to yourself, which really is go to your source. We're all on that same journey to accessing our true essence and living from that place of really feeling connected with our soul, connected with the Shekhinah, the divine indwelling, feminine indwelling presence. And in order to reconnect with our essential core, we need to let go of those exterior attachments that block our inner light. And specifically in the land of Israel, we have that ability to really access the sparks of our soul. But nevertheless, even in Israel, we need to let go of exterior attachment. And in spiritual healing, we work on shedding layer after layer of spiritual and emotional blocks that impedes us from accessing our inner essence and truly living a balanced Torah life. And a lot of that is that we have to shed. It begins in a very young age, and this is also called childhood wounds, which are negative experiences with a negative lasting effect that keep affecting our current lives. Could be even 50 years later. So today we're gonna see how to do that in spiritual, like a little example of how we do that in spiritual healing, how we do a little exercise we're gonna do for that. But before that, I wanted to share with you what the Kli Yakar says, which is very beautiful. And Clear Car says, notice that the order of the detachment is the wrong order. But when you want to leave, let's say, if I want to leave to go visit my mother in Denmark, so first I have to leave my house. Then I have to leave my community. That's like my house. That's like my father's house, parallels that go from your father's house. Then I have to leave my community, your birthplace. And then I have to, okay, it's not my birthplace, but never mind. But that's the order of things. And then I have to leave my country. But why does it come in the opposite order? Why does Hashem tell Abraham, first leave your country, then leave your birthplace, and only in the end, leave your father's house, which is really not the natural order of how you leave to go to another place. And so Clear Car explains beautifully that we're talking about not necessarily a physical withdrawal, but we're talking about a spiritual withdrawal. And when you need to do a spiritual withdrawal or detaching yourself from spiritual attachments, you have to start with the more exterior layer, the layer that's easier to get rid of first. And then, so first we leave the country we're not so attached to that. And then even more so, we're attached to our neighborhood, the people we know, like our extended family and our friends, circle of friends. And then in the end, we have to leave. The hardest thing is the house of our father, house of our parents, where all the things, like they have always been our primary caretakers, and a lot of the things, the way we live today is, and the way we react to different situations is influenced by what we have learned, for good and for less good, in our parents' house. And those are the hardest attachments to detach from. And that's why they're written in the end. And this is what Clear Car tells us. And I thought that was really beautiful. And so when we let go of all of that, which is like from our land, from our birthplace, from our father's house, what we're really letting go of is self-confirmation, citizenship, property rights, and inheritance, which are usually the essential sources of security, and how we identify ourselves usually. But what do we have to go to instead? Once we let go of these three, we go to the land that I'll show you, a new identity that we must seek, which is the higher identity, independent of land, nationality, family, and parents. Our new identity, what is it based on? Our relationship with God, just like it was for Avraham. And so really, if we can learn to detach from these, or to reframe these old stories that we all carry, the main story that I like, it's story, quote unquote, it's not it's a story that we tell ourselves. Our unconscious are telling us this story, that affect the way we relate to other people, the way we perceive how other people relate to us. And the main story that I encounter over and over again in one version or another is something like, I'm not good enough. People are saying that to themselves, oh, I don't deserve. And this causes people that carry that kind of story, this makes them stay in an unhealthy relationship, even abusive at sometimes, because they think they don't deserve better. Or alternatively, a woman may never get married because she's carrying the story, I don't deserve love in life. I don't deserve a husband that loves and adores me. And so where does that story come from? And we need to find where the source of that story in order to be able to reframe it. And so usually often it comes, that kind of story usually comes from a problem with the mother, with not receiving enough love and compassion from the mother, not enough empathy and not enough attention, not enough praise. So what do you call it when a mother is like happy with what you're doing? This is important for a child, that the mother is, yeah, that's great, you're beautiful, you're doing great. Not enough encouragement. All of those kind of lacks in childhood can cause a validation. Thank you, Tatiana. Can very much cause a person to feel like, I don't deserve better because I never got it before. So why should I get it now? I didn't get the love I needed when I was little. And that when in those formative years, especially the first 5 years of our lives, whatever we experience, then it goes to a very deep place in our psyche. And so when things happen in our life, we return to being that little 5-year-old girl. We react from the place of a 5-year-old girl. We never really grew up if we're carrying that kind of story. And there's different versions of it. There's also other stories. But today I'm focusing on this story because that's what I have experienced it the most in myself and in the people I treat. And so now I want to actually do with you a very short Imuna healing exercise to help. Before the exercise, I want to just say that the problem with carrying such a story, it takes us away from really connecting with Hashem. Why? You think it only takes away from my quality of life. I don't get what I need because I don't expect to get what I need. But no, it actually also affects our mitzvah observance. How does that work? Let's say I feel like I'm no good. I don't have any self-confidence and self-validation. So what will I want to? I'm all the time striving to receive that self-validation and feeling that and doing something in order that I'll get the validation that I am good enough. So I'll try to help somebody so that they will say, they'll give me the applaud, the validation, what I did, what I've been craving since I was a little girl. So when I help and I extend myself to do chesed, to do something good for someone else, instead of doing it truly for the mitzvah and truly to help them, I'm really doing it for myself to fill that lack, that I want someone to know how good I am, which nobody did when I was young. And so I'm not really doing the mitzvah for Hashem. I'm doing it for myself. I'm doing it for my ego. And when I do it for my ego, then the other person can feel that. For the other person, they experience, it's not the same helpful when we are, when we are motivated by our own ego rather than being motivated by doing the right thing and doing what's needed for with the other person in focus. The quality of the chesed that we do when it comes from the ego motivation is not the same kind of quality. People can feel it. It's much more exterior. It doesn't have the same love attached to it. And so therefore, I want to say, if you really want to do Lech Lecha, go to your inner self, to your core, to your connection with God, we must do spiritual healing and work on reframing these stories that we carry since childhood. And here's a little exercise to try to do that. I mean, this is a group exercise. So of course, when we do individual Imuna healing, the exercise becomes adapted to the specific needs of the person in treatment. So here, hopefully this is something general that everybody can gain something from this exercise. Close your eyes and relax as you breathe slowly. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now think about when and in which situation did you last experience your I'm no good story. How did the story affect your action and feelings? Go back in time until you're able to access a childhood memory when you first felt this feeling. What happened? What had you done? And how were you treated? Or what had you not done? What had you done and what had you not done? And how were you treated by perhaps one of your parents or someone else important to you? Try to visualize yourself as a little hurt girl with as many details as possible. What were you wearing? How did you keep your hair? Which place were you in? You know, what pictures were on the wall, etc., etc. Now allow your adult self to go down to that little girl. Hold and comfort her. Allow her to cry on your shoulder while you show her love and compassion. Listen to her tell you how she feels while you are holding the space for her and stroking her hair. Let her confide in you. And comfort her. Keep comforting her. Now, go back up to the present and visualize the situation when you last experienced feeling no good. Allow yourself to relate to the situation, to that same situation with more self-confidence than when you were actually in it. Visualize now. How you will respond better next time in a similar situation when a similar situation presents itself in your life. And so just one more thing is the song from my songbook, which I really didn't give up putting on Amazon. And this is my Lech Lecha song that I like, that has to do with shedding all these stories in order to really connect with our highest part. So it goes like this. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, from all that weighs you down. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, go to your ground. From jealousy and anger, hatred and obsession, from judgment and slander, sadness and depression. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, from all that weighs you down. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, go to your ground. From humiliation and disillusion, uncertainty and confusion. To your inner divine spot, believe. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, from all that weighs you down. Lech Lecha, Lech Lecha, go to your crown. From holding on to the past, childhood wounds and hurt feelings, to release and feel peace at last.